Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do a painting demonstration of Castle Stalker. It's a castle based on the west coast of Scotland. It's about 25 miles north of Oban on the map if you want to have a look. So here's an image of the castle, and I would suggest you use this for making your sketch. You might want to stop and pause the video. So we start off with stage one, which is to make a sketch of the scene. And you'll see here that I'm using the photograph that I have. I've actually placed it on the piece of paper, and I'm going to use it for getting the various lines that I can use to finish off the sketch. You'll see that I'm marking where the castle will be, the width, and I already marked the lines where the water would be. So I can use that to get started. The final part of the sketch is regards the castle, and it's quite tricky. You'll see from I've got the photograph just below. On the top part there, you've got all these roofs and turrets and windows. So it's quite important that I make a good sketch here, because once you've started painting, there's no coming back. So it's worth just taking a bit of time to make sure we're happy with the sketch. So I'm just going to crack on here and get it finished. The next stage is the blocking in stage, where we apply as much colour as possible to the paper to get it filled in before we start adding the detail. So I'm starting off with the sky, and I'll be painting that with a cobalt blue colour. But as you can see, I'm going to start off with the brush and just put some water, clear water, and I'm leaving some areas of white paper, and this is for clouds. So when I put the paint across, when you'll see, I leave the white areas alone and can tidy them up later. The brush I'm using is a mop brush, about a number, I think it's a number 8. As you'll see, as I mentioned earlier, I'm leaving out the white areas for the clouds and quickly just adding the cobalt blue to the wet areas. What I'm painting now is the hills in the distance. You'll see the bit on the right hand side, I'm over painting it. I actually had the colour mixed up, started painting, just realised I didn't have the camera on, so I had to wash it out and start again. What I'm trying to create now is some depth in the painting, and the hills, the far hills in the distance, need to be of a low tonal value. And the colour I've used, or colours I've used, is cobalt blue with some yellow ochre. And it gives you a nice bluey green colour, which when it dries is quite effective. So you'll see that I'm putting the line, the horizon line in, and once this I've got this bluish area filled in, you'll notice I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow ochre on its own in certain parts. And that's where the light, which is coming in from the left, will be hitting the hills. And as I say, when it dries, it's quite effective. Next, I'm going to paint the island, and you'll see there's a light grassy area at the top of the island. I'm just filling that in with a limey green colour mixed up with cadmium yellow and a touch of Windsor blue. Then I'm mixing up, you'll see I'm adding some brown to the green just to darken it a shade, and that covers the side of the island. And I'm just going to carry on along here, along to the far side, and then I'll add some yellow ochre to fill in the rocky area just in front of the water edge. I'm going to paint the castle, and I'm using a yellow ochre colour. Painting all over the castle will get the shadow side darker once this is dry. The final part of the blocking in stage is now the water, and I'm using a flat brush here, and I've got a mix of ultramarine blue with a little touch of a light red, just slightly. So I'm painting in along towards the reflection of the castle, and I'll stop there, and I'm going to move across now to the other side from the reflection and just paint across towards the left. And lastly, in the reflection part, I'll paint yellow ochre down on the left and move over towards the right, and a bit of a darker brown colour in to cover the area which will be in the shade. I'll be painting that when I start on the detail. So here we have the finished stage 2 blocking in the painting with the various colours. So now ready to start stage 3, adding the detail. Now that the painting's dry, I've just had time to have a quick look at it, and there's 2 areas that I'm going to have to just add a bit stronger colour of paint. The first one is the sky, and as you can see, I'm just adding a cobalt blue with a slightly stronger tonal value to the top area, probably down to around about just the top of the castle. The sky is always darker at the top, and as you come down towards the horizon, it becomes lighter. So you can see that I'm just softening it off now, and I'll just drag that down towards the horizon area. Adding another wash is something that sometimes students wonder if it's feasible or acceptable to do this. It's absolutely fine, nothing wrong with that at all. As long as it's not too dark and heavy, But as you can see, this is fairly light, and it's giving the sky just that extra strength at the top that I needed. The next area that I mentioned was the hills in the distance, and it's dried far too light. So what, as you can see, I'm doing here, I've just mixed up a low value wash of cobalt blue, and I'm carefully just painting that over the existing colours. That will start to give it the depth that we need, and the yellow ochre colour will still shine through there. So once that dries, that will be fine. I might just add a little bit of yellow ochre as well in the areas where the sun is hitting the hills. The next part I'm painting is the castle itself, and I've mixed up a darkish brown with some burnt umber and a bit of ultramarine blue, and I'm painting the area in the shade on the right hand side. So as you can see, I'm just carefully painting down towards the steps that go up to the door on the castle, and I'm just going to carry on. There's one or two nice little bits where the sun's hitting the railings. I'm going to try and protect that, and I'll carry on down and finish that side. So you'll see that I've finished the shadow side on the right hand side of the castle, and now I'm just adding some slightly darker yellow ochre to the part of the castle that's in the sunlight. I'm picking out some bits to try and suggest the large stonework, and so I'm just going to work my way down carefully, making sure not to fill it all in. Next, I'm tackling the island, the greenery, the grassy bank, and down to the edge at the waterfront, the rocky part. This part is quite tricky to try and explain, and detail like this is something that possibly you just have to watch and see if you can pick up some tips and techniques on how to give it that rugged texture. So I've got a pointed brush here, quite a fine one, and as you can see, I'm just picking out bits and pieces to try and suggest the surface area. I'm not going to fill it all in. So what I suggest is you watch this, and I'll just continue. I'll put some soft background music so you can watch as I carry on. There's not too much left to do now, just some final parts regarding the castle itself, the trees round about the castle and the water. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crack on and finish this, as it's quite difficult to explain to students how to do this particular part. We've all got our own individual style. So what I think would be best in this final part of the painting is for me just to carry on painting, and I'll put some background music on so you can watch and see the various bits taking place, and if there's any areas that you feel you would like to go over again, then you can stop the video and watch it. So I'll be using, you'll see that I've got a small pointed brush here, about a number 4. I'll have a rigger, a pointed brush for some of the windows, etc., and round the bank, and a a mop brush for the water. So I'll carry on, and we'll see what it looks like at the end. What I'm doing now is I'm just finishing off the water, and as you can see, I'm putting in some horizontal lines with a slightly darker blue, and this helps to push the reflection part of the castle down into the water rather than sitting on the top. So one or two little strokes with a smaller brush will help to finish it off. Well, almost finished. Just one or two little strokes to put on for the reflection in the water of the trees and bushes. And I think I'll put the brush down now before I start to spoil the painting. Well, here's the finished painting of Castle Stalker, and it's turned out reasonably well. Quite a good range of darks and lights. The lights for the hills in the distance, and the darks in the foreground for the castle and the island. If you liked watching the video, then please click the like button, or better still, why not subscribe and join the channel, where hopefully you'll enjoy some more of the paintings I plan to do in the next week or two. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.